what is this epigenetics? And let's have this conversation, because you mentioned, Dr. Morello, earlier, you can't change your genes, but you can modify genetic expression through this concept of epigenetics, and what all this means.
All right, so let's just go back to that 93%, that study that showed 93% of health longevity is the environment.
Yeah.
What we eat, what we're exposed to, what we do, how we sleep, all of these things. So let's just recognize that. And then for a toddler who's going out in the world, that's when it really starts impacting them. They are going out into the world. They're being exposed to far more than they were in the first 2 years.
Right.
Going to school, preschool, exposed to all sorts of lovely bugs around the world. So again, at that time, the parent is actually still fully in control of the child. They have the most ability to dictate
Influence.
what they eat, what they're exposed to, what they can do. You get to a teenager and it's a whole different story. So at this age, diet, this is where you set that foundation. Yeah, I mean, obviously it starts in utero, but here you're setting another foundation to move on with.
Absolutely.
And this is what ultimately is the most impactful, right? To get more and more of these exposures, plastics, pesticides. And, when you start introducing the foods, right, at year 18 months, the major solids and so forth. And you got to be careful and conscious of, choosing hopefully organic or as few pesticides as possible, not putting or storing food in plastics that might translate phthalates. And you can't be pollution free living in LA, right? But you can ultimately manage the rotting lemons.
You can't live in a bubble, right? So you're going to be exposed. What you're trying to do, like Dr. Bird just said, like you just said, you try to minimize. Right. Mm-hmm. All you can do is minimize, and then at the same time as minimizing, is there things we can do to improve our ability to get rid of these things as they come into our bodies?
Exactly. That's the whole principle.
That's the whole principle.
Yeah.
Because that's all we can do.
Yeah.
So we have to do that, and we got to minimize. We have to, without a doubt. This is doable. We have to really, really cut down on sugar.
Yeah.
This is a big problem. And so why is it a big problem? Well, think about it. What percentage of the population is pre-diabetic now? It's rampant. So all that is that sugar does not have the ability to get inside a cell. That's it. That's the problem. It can't get inside. So in order to get inside, it needs insulin. And so the cell and insulin opens the door to let the sugar get inside the cell, so the sugar can do its thing inside the cell and produce energy. And if it can't do that because the cell is resistant to insulin, you need more and more insulin. And so now that sugar stays in the bloodstream. And what is sugar? Sugar it's a glue. This is why when you pick up a can of pop the next day, it's very sticky. Yeah. And so what it causes something called glycation. And glycation makes molecules stick together, really interfering with lots of different things. And here's another interesting thing that you can that the audience might be interested in is that when you look at a type 1 diabetic has no insulin. They need insulin shots. Yeah. A type 2 diabetic has a lot of insulin. The insulin just doesn't work. What's the difference when you look at those individuals? A type 2 diabetic is always overweight. A type 1 is always thin. Why? Because it's insulin that creates lipogenesis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that's off topic, but it's interesting.
No, it's very relevant.
I mean, to understand these huge, different phenomena and really understand it clearly is like the greatest gift you can give. So, thanks for explaining it so well.
Amazing at simplifying complex concepts. So, and now let's get grounded again for folks. Let's spend a couple of minutes.
I'm glad Bryce is here to ground us.
Well, let's spend a couple of minutes on what some of the best dietary strategies are to support a child's natural detoxification process and mitochondrial function. Again, at this sort of interesting age of exploration. So we're talking like 3 to 5. I mean, they're out in the world. They're maybe starting junior kindergarten. There's some autonomy on the choices they might make for that extra sugar or their friend's chocolate bar or what have you. But it starts in the home, right? And of course, that starts at the grocery store and shop in the aisles. What kind of advice can you give parents to help their children make these best choices?
Yeah. So I actually learned this from a very good doctor, Bryce Wild. You shop the rainbow.
Tell me what he told you.
You shop the rainbow. So when you go to the supermarket and you bring the kids in on it at the same time, you're shopping for the rainbow of foods. spectrum.
Yeah.
Well, I like this concept of, allowing children at this age to have some degree of, they love the control. So
Don't
I
they?
call
Yeah,
this,
it's so true.
I call this auditing the fridge. You give them the ability to understand that if we're out of purple, it's on them. I don't care if they buy purple grapes or if they like purple cabbage, which is probably unlikely. But if we're out of purple, Mom, Dad, we're out of purple. All right, come, Johnny, to the store with us, and you choose some purple.
That's great.
So I think it works so that you keep them accountable, and they will hold you accountable. By the way, and kids at this age, and all ages really, they learn by example. Yeah. That's what they are. They're sponges. So if they see you eating candy, chocolate bars, chips, well then you're sending a message that that's okay. So we got to stop that off right there. Right, that's where it starts. Can probiotics and prebiotics help reduce toxin buildup?
Yep, I think prebiotics can help build the microbiome. So by building the microbiome, you're going to get more improved detoxification, and you're going to get better. For example, so the microbiome. So if you think about how this process works, these bacteria are so important. Like it's hard to believe. If you were to ask me this 25 years ago, I would say, no, come on. There's no way it can do all these things. We've just learned in April that the microbiome also, through a fermentation process, produces GABA, a neurotransmitter that relaxes things. I mean, how important is that?
When there's we're plagued by anxiety, we're plagued by
lack of sleep,
ADHD,
ability to sleep.
Right.
There was just a study, another one that just came out, where depression used to hit people 30 and above in 1988. Now it hits kids 13 and above. So we're really getting into a lot of cognitive dysfunction issues. We're getting into a lot of mental health disorders. And it's all, to me, it's all diet related. The majority is diet related. So anyways, back to your point. Yes, so prebiotics is one. Also, there is things you can do. I know children don't take capsules, but you can get, for example, one of my favorite spices is curcumin. I think this. I mean, the data on it is incredible.
Starting at what age?
This
is an extract of turmeric, right?
Yes, I've given it to kids 3-4 years of age.
Okay.
And you know how I do that? You can get water dispersible. So if you take curcumin, it floats on water. But if you take water dispersible, you can mix it with juice. You can mix it with water. You can mix it with a drink, with a beverage, and they can drink it. And it has no flavor, but it's providing curcuminoids that have a well-studied benefit on the liver. So the liver has, that the liver is a detoxification organ. It takes compounds, it changes them through something we call phase 1, which is the alteration phase. And then it goes into phase 2, which is a conjugation phase that allows that compound to be conjugated to another compound that allows it to get excreted out of the body
safely.
So you can do that. So this is one of the ways, something that you can take orally in a beverage, and I think that could help children as well. So there's a number of things that you can do to help their detoxification systems. I mean, the diet is a big. Oh, there you have it. You have phase 1 and phase 2. Yes, the conjugate. So this is interesting.
Here's the nutrients that are required for that to operate.
And there's the nutrients. So how do we get all those nutrients into kids? How can we get them? I mean, we can get them through the diet. We can get them through some. There's also liquid multivitamins as well that they can take. So those are helpful as well.
But really, it's as simply as you give the liver the right nutrients, and it will do that operation correctly.
Right.
It's not rocket science, right?
Absolutely. I call this sort of this water soluble thing. I think a lot of parents will understand what this is when we talk about making it easier to pee it out, poop it out, breathe it out, and sweat it out. Right? When you turn something a toxin, water soluble, the liver does it naturally, thankfully, but it can do it better by giving the body back some support to those rotten lemons, rejuvenate those lemons.
And you see. Eliminate what? So bile. So in order to get, 98% of bile is reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. The only way it's going to go out is if you bind it to fiber. So fiber gets it out.
Right.
So you need fiber, or else it gets back. And so here's something for the parents, because when you bind bile and you excrete out of the body has to make more bile. And how does it make bile? It extracts cholesterol from the circulation. So that's one of the ways of lowering cholesterol as well. So there's a side benefit for the adults.